Hi everybody, and welcome to another third-party video review. I would just like to rinse these Zeta Toys figures a little bit more and do a combined form video for you. I think I'll show them off in their bot modes compared to the Unique Toys versions, again with vehicle modes, and of course fully combined up as Bruticus. A few things I'd like to cover first. There are a few different options for Onslaught that I didn't cover in his video. And much like we got with their Swindle, we do have options for the chest to make it more cartoon accurate. You just swing that down, bring that up, rotate that around, push that back down, and then bring that back in. That gives us a much more kind of cartoon inspired look. And the same can be said about the arms as well. Just disengage this back piece. These can then come forwards, rotate, and they're going to push and slide back inwards. And then this tab just sits down on the back of those wheels. But at the same time, it really does kind of tidy up those forearms. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the wheel out or the wheel hidden? We also get the option of disengaging his backpack. We can then split these in half. And I'm not personally a fan, but you can just flip these back sections up. Make sure this is lined up and then slide that in. It's a tight fit, but it slides in. And then we've got kind of cannons mounted on the side of Onslaught's arms. And of course they move when his arms move. Again, not a huge fan of that myself, but it's an option if you want to kind of beef him up a tad. And here they are alongside their Unique Toys counterparts. Isn't it amazing how two companies can take two very different approaches on a character and give us very different but yet both very good figures in their own right. Unique Toys has a lot going for it. I love the cartoon aesthetic throughout most of their figures. And again, with Zeta, I love how they've adopted the ability to change up some of their characters to give them more of that nod towards the cartoons, but at the same time keeping that modern day realism. And here we have them all transformed up into their vehicle modes. Absolutely love the realism that they've got going on here. And yes, I have removed his tank treads. They were just annoying me, transforming him back and forward. But I'm going to just do a few alterations with Onslaught, just so we can use him as a carrier. And then I'm going to show you how to make the rocket base out of the remaining parts. First of all, I did fail to mention in my review that he does have wing mirrors. They can just pull out to the side, but they're quite stiff. Yep, they just pop out. So, right, we need to disengage these legs. Just pull those apart. And you've got an extra hinge on here, so we need to just untab, like so. And then bend it at that extra hinge. We have these sections at the back here, which act as ramps. And then we can bring in what was our shield. And we have various tabs. Just tabs in along here on either side. It just sits on the back like so. It's more static than I would like, and it's not the best fit. It's kind of held on by friction, but it does allow for the wider vehicles to be transported. Obviously we don't have to have these down, we can flip those up, but it does kind of allow for this to work. Personally, I'm not a fan of having that carried on the back there. I like that slimline look, but some people might like the flexibility. As well as being a transporter, we can bring these pieces apart, separate those up. Each leg has a small tab underneath. We can just bring those tabs out, and you can grab each foot, and that's just going to slide in to the tab. He says, easy said than done. There we go, and that now makes a secure landing base. There we go, that's nice and secure. And if you look at the back here, there's a groove there. We can bring this down. This is a half circle, a crescent. That's just going to slide in, and once it's in, we can then slide it around, and now we have some weaponry on the side of our launchers. And underneath the launch pad, we've actually got two holes which fit rather nicely into that shield section. Open up the back of the chest piece, add one of the handle adapters, and then this can slide down like so. This can then push down, close down around it, tabbing in, and then we have a rather nifty launch bay. And none of the weight is on that launch pad at the back there. It's all supported by this bracket piece, and you know, that's not bad at all, is it really? I think that's kind of cool. And if you're not a fan of using all of these big leg sections, which some of you might not, this really kind of reminds me of Omega Supreme. That's why I like it. But let's just untab this piece here, get Blast Off out of the way, and let's just remove one of these feet, and we can just have that mounted on the feet like so as kind of a launch bay for individuals. This works with Vortex as well. And of course, much like robot mode, there are good and bad points of each of these sets. As I mentioned with the bot modes, the unique toys in my opinion do look more like their cartoon counterparts, but Zeta have kind of nailed that realism. They've said, oh, what if Starscream created his brigade in modern day? Let's see them scan space shuttles, modern helicopters, tanks, and flatbeds. And the result is a very highly armoured team. And here we have the big bad boy transformed up, fully combined, and he is glorious. Swindle and Brawl. Where the knee socket is, there's some spring-loaded tabs. You push that in and they basically grip around the top of each of those. And the likes of Vortex and Blast Off, they just flip up, slide down into the shoulder tabs, and then the seal goes over the top. It's basically exactly the same as what we got with Toy World's Constructor. Now, people have stated that he's quite difficult to balance. That's not a lie. It's a matter of kind of jiggling around with him. He has the sliding hips, which I'll show you in a minute, which really do help counterbalance that really heavy backpack. As people say that the attachment to Swindle isn't the best. Again, that's correct. It doesn't hold on as well as it does with Brawl. I think Zeta are aware of this, and it's definitely going to be improved on for their Superion, but I think he looks incredible with such a massive beast. And yes, he's not animation colors. Who knows, maybe they'll release some animation colored thigh guards and maybe some animation colored feet just to kind of change him up to look slightly more cartoon accurate. But it's a gorgeous looking piece. Would have liked Blast Off to have been the other way around, but beggars can't be choosers. I would have liked the shuttle part to be on the outside, but that is a masterpiece scale Bruticus. Here we have him alongside Megatron, Shockwave, and of course Starscream. See, he towers over them, and I think that's the sort of size a combiner should be. And here we have the two giants together, and yes, I do have the unique toys Bruticus joined up with his jumbo arm modes. If you have the unique toys one, do I recommend you selling it to get the Zeta? Probably not. It's a good figure in its own right, and if you're a fan of the Generations line, for example, it is perfect scale-wise to scale with the likes of your gravity builders and that. It looks fantastic. But if you're like me and you want your massive, great jumbo combinatrons, then I highly recommend the Zeta product. Now, I'm not sure if this is something I'm doing wrong or not, but some people have got him saying that he's taller than Constructor. I don't know if I'm doing something different, but he comes up just shy eye to eye, and he is a bit shorter than Omega Supreme, but I'm okay with that. I like how that looks. At the end of the day, these are giant robots, and they've been done to an exceptional standard. The only downside being is we're all going to need bigger displays. And Mech Fan Toys Shockwave was so close to being the right scale. It's pretty much spot on. It just will not stay in his hands, unfortunately. And I really want to show you the awesome sound effects on this guy. He's got loads of G1 sayings, but I can't find batteries this small. They are absolutely tiny. Obviously, I got the standard ones that we had for the likes of Megatron, and they don't even touch that. So unfortunately, a lot of my stuff is in storage. We're packing up, hoping to move. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the smaller batteries, which I'm a little bit gutted about, because that's a really fantastic feature. Now let's take a look at his articulation. The head is on a rotation joint that swivels left and right, and we can go up and down. Not a great range of up and down motion, but enough for a giant robot. As you can see, he has got a bit of a rock to him. That's partly due to the weight and partly due to those big, heavy backpacks. The arms, much like Constructor, do tend to kind of pop this joint here up because it's such a tight ratchet. We can go bring this joint out like so we can get those arms really nicely up there, or we can sink them back down for that more natural look. Forearms can go up and down. We do have rotation in there as well. The hands are on this lovely pivoting joints. We can go inwards and outwards. Thumb can come up to the top, and we've got that bend, bend, and bend. The fingers are all individually articulated, and there is a groove on the inside of the hand which allows us to plug the gun inwards. The waist does have a rotation, as well as an abdominal crunch. Not a great crunch there, but enough just to offset his balance. Now, being back heavy, there's the option on this waist piece to move the crotch forwards or move the crotch back, which does help with the counterbalance. So between that abdominal crunch and that hip displacement, then we can get him balanced fairly nicely. And of course, we do have hip skirts to the front and back, which also locate round to the side. They allow for these extremely heavy legs to come up, back, out to the side. There we have the problem with Swindle, just popping beyond his joint. We have upper thigh rotation. This bend on the knee is actually a very strong joint. I love that piston effect that we've got going on there. And coming down to the feet, they can tilt side to side, and there's so much heft to these. I mean, you've even got toe articulation, but they're just so ruddy heavy. So with a little bit of patience, you can get him in some pretty funky poses. It's just a matter of twisting and turning and getting things to work for you. But it's not as natural to pose as the Unique Toys equivalent, but it's more satisfying when you finally got him posed up, because he's ginormous. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the fully combined form of Zeta Toys Armageddon. I really like him. He's not without his flaws. There is some vibrational problems. Every time you move those ratchety joints, he vibrates, and comes apart somewhat, but at the same time, he's ginormous and he's going to be on display. I'm not going to be playing around with him, but if you do want to play around with your toys, then just be careful with this guy, because Swindle and even Brawl to an extent do tend to kind of come apart at the seams when you vibrate those knee joints. And when we move these arms up and down unsupported, then they tend to pop away from both the neck and the shoulder. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Is this going to be your Bruticus? Or are you going to wait for the Mastermind Creations one? Or maybe Vans Toys will tease one for 2029. Until next time, from myself and Zeta Toys, Armageddon out of here. Goodbye.